Hello and welcome to Kody and Korbin Have a Podcast, the show where two roommates,
And they were
Korbin
roommates.
and Kody, give their unfiltered opinion about one movie every week. This week on the show, we're going to be talking about Fast Five.
Are you crazy? Do you know whose money are you stealing?
We ain't stealing that.
All right, listen up. The men we're after are professional runners. We find them, we take them as a team, and we bring them back. And above all else, we don't ever let them get into cars.
Home sweet home.
This just went from Mission Impossible to Mission of freaking Sanity.
Stick to the plan. If you're gonna survive, stop thinking like a cop. You're in my world now. We'll do one last job, and then we disappear forever.
As always, I'm your host, Korbin Zvokel.
And as always, I'm also here. Pretty well. It was my turn to pick a movie this week. I believe this is episode 9. Almost
episode 9, almost to the 10 piece.
Almost double digits. It'll be a special episode. But yeah, I picked Fast Five. I don't know, sort of just like the time where we grew up. I think it's just like a classic, fun action movie. Like, it's dumb, but it's fun. Obviously, the Fast and Furious franchise has quite the reputation just for like movie quality and like box office wise, like they make a lot of money. But this was like the first one, I think, to actually like murder the box office, and it really spreed off just, you know, whatever the movies have become since then. I haven't seen all of them, if I'm being completely honest, but I've seen this one probably about 10-15 times. Super rewatchable. Yeah, that's just why I picked it. I just wanted to talk about this movie basically.
Yeah. Like you said, I mean, Fast and Furious is an absolutely huge franchise. Grossed over $6 billion across their gonna be 9 movies this summer. Yeah. Well, I guess 10 technically, because they've got the Hobbs and Shaw. So huge franchise. I think it's a great pick. I think it, like you said, it's just like an awesome action movie. It's pretty dumb in a lot of parts. The acting is but it's just really fun. And obviously, not only is it a huge franchise, but this movie specifically was a little bit of a turning point for the franchise, I would say. The first 4 movies, well received, did well at the box office. But I think this movie kind of marks moving away from a little bit of like the car chase genre, and like this is only about like street racers that are like criminals, and moving into like big, huge action sequences that are, you know, heists and stuff blowing up, and eventually them becoming essentially superheroes. This movie is I think the threshold where it's like, it's a little bit believable. There's a couple things that happen that are like, that would never happen in real life. For the most part, it's pretty believable. But I think it's that ending of like, okay, here's kind of realistic stuff, and then in the next movie, everything completely flips. So this is kind of a turning point for the franchise, I would say.
Yeah, I'd say it's the breaking point of the franchise. I mean, The next movie, they have a tank, and then the movie after that, like they're falling out of planes and cars, jumping from building to building. Right. They're
the Burj Khalifa sequence where
yeah. This movie's ridiculous, but not to the degree of the other one.
Yeah. It's a good transitional period, and obviously this brings in The Rock, which also was like a huge
franchise saver. Dude.
Yeah, I mean, The Rock now has been in like every single movie. He had his own spin-off movie with Jason Statham and Idris Elba. Like that was huge for them, and it was huge for The Rock as well. If we begin to look at the career of The Rock since 2011, he's become one of the biggest movie stars of all time.
Definitely.
All right, so moving in, just talking a little bit. Break down the plot for me, Kody. Tell me what happened in this movie.
Oh man, I'm not prepared for this. Okay, so basically, I'm just gonna run this into my initial thoughts as well. The first, whatever it is, like minute of the movie, Dom's supposedly in prison. I don't even know what happened in the last movie. He got caught or something. We don't
Lenny
need to-
dies.
we don't
That's
need to
all.
break it down.
Fast and Furious. The fourth one I think is probably maybe the worst one.
I haven't seen it in a long time.
Yeah, I
but
think I've seen it
anyways,
once,
he's on his way to prison, and Brian and Mia show up and just flip this prison bus, and he's out. That happens in like 2 minutes. I'd say that's like the one part of the movie that's just like
How does he not die?
doesn't really need to be there. So right after that, we go to the main location, which is Brazil. And basically that's just the movie, yeah. So, I mean, they're in Brazil just basically on the run from the U.S., which is The Rock. And then also intertwined with that is the Brazilian gangsters and this guy in power who they're basically just trying to take down. I wrote down, it's sort of like, it is fun motives because they're kind of like Robin Hood in that they're taking money from the rich and sort of giving it back to the poor. But also while doing that, destroying, most of the community, the poor community, jumping through, roofs and houses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Destroying bridges. That's the base plot. Also, they're throwing a little Ocean's 11, which I think is really interesting.
Absolutely.
They bring in a crew and then they do a big heist at the end where everybody gets in on the action. But yeah, my initial thoughts, I just think it's such a cool location to shoot. Sort of the whole Brazil vibe, but more specifically, it's called the Favelas, I believe. It's like the poor community.
Favelas.
Yeah, whatever. It's in like GTA. It's just like a super cool location. It's like, I think super remote. I don't think a ton of movies are filmed there because I think it's hard to get into. So I don't know how they did that. But I think
They actually shot the movie in Puerto Rico.
did they? Well,
Yeah.
it looks a lot like Brazil, so that's fair. But yeah, I mean, the big thing for me in this movie is The Rock. Like, he comes in, dude, he's just so badass. Just his lines from the beginning are, "Don't ever let them get in their cars." Iconic. And then the second one, he goes, "Stay the fuck out of my way." Also iconic. Love that. And yeah, just sort of Justin Lin's direction. It's very stylistic. It's very different from the other Fast movies, I think. And like, I don't think anybody really knew who he was before this. This movie definitely gave
As a
him...
movie star, it was definitely like a huge turning point for him.
Oh, I'm talking about Justin Lin.
Oh, you're talking about Justin Lin. My bad.
Yeah. No, The Rock, obviously.
I was confused. Okay, yeah.
No,
Justin
that makes
Lin.
sense.
That
The
makes
Rock
sense.
obviously
Right.
blew
People
up
knew who
from
he
this.
was, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Justin Lin,
Justin
I think,
Lin,
was
yeah.
sort of an unknown, and then he's gone on to do a lot of major products, productions, whatever. I think a lot of it due to this movie. But yeah, that's my initial thoughts. I love the pacing, super fast. It's just a pure fun action movie, which I feel like we don't get a lot anymore. It's always trying to top itself. I'm specifically talking about the Fast movies. It's always trying to top itself. Also, just like, there's no fun action movies. It's all superhero big budget, which I love, but there's nothing just like condensed down to just, I hate myself for saying this, but a family, just a group of friends just on a kick-ass adventure. But yeah, I love this movie. What are your initial thoughts?
So obviously the acting is not great in this movie, specifically from the leads. But the stunts are awesome. The stunt work, a lot of practical stuff, a lot of stuff done by the actual actors themselves instead of stunt doubles. There's just a ton of moments. A lot of the sequences, like, your eyes are just glued to the screen, and like, I would say the last, I think, like 40 minutes of this movie, like, you just shouldn't look away because there's just so much happening, and it really draws you in. The final heist is awesome. This movie's got it all: car chases, heists, explosions, shootouts, fist fights. It's got everything. The other thing I want to talk about is the cast and even the direct. Like, this is a pretty diverse movie. Obviously, you do have like a white lead in Paul Walker, but like Vin Diesel is whatever. Vin Diesel, I don't know. He's racially ambiguous,
He's
but
not
like
straight up Caucasian.
you've got The Rock, you've got Ludacris, and you have the two explosive
Spanish
guys, and
Gal Gadot.
Han and Gal Gadot. Like, it's a pretty diverse cast.
Yeah.
Obviously, it has some things to say about Brazil and the culture. People in Brazil didn't necessarily like this movie because it just makes it seem like everybody's poor and everybody does drugs and everybody has guns, which isn't great. But in general, like, I would say this is like, for like a huge big budget action movie, like, the cast is really awesome, really diverse. You got men and women. You got women who are doing badass stuff in this movie, like Gal Gadot, and even Jordana Brewster. Like, in this movie, she's doing a lot of stuff too, which I think in the previous movies she'd kind of taken a back seat a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's really awesome. And I mean, like we said, it's a great action movie. Probably one of the best action movies of this century, for sure, in my opinion. So
I agree.
All right, so we're gonna move on to the stupidest part of this movie, which
You stupid.
there's a lot.
I always forget we start here. Yeah, this is a fun one to start with.
For this movie in particular, we can go ahead and get it started.
Okay.
I'll get started with the first one. So the scene where they're chasing him through the favelas, and they're running on the rooftops, which already, like, shout out to their knees, I guess, for helping him there. But Brian and Mia are running together, and they like jump through the roof, and it breaks, and they fall in. And first of all, they're fine, which is weird as it is. But like, the bad guys just stop chasing them. They're like, well, they must be dead. So they like don't even like go to check on them. They don't do anything. They're just like, oh well.
The next cut scene is them coming out of like what are those? It's like a gutter.
Yeah. Suddenly they're in a storm drain. I don't understand it. So that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. That in general. What do you think?
I got a few here. I feel like the one that really pisses me off, it's just like plot wise, just Dom dropping his chain and then the Brazilian chick picking it up.
And why does she wear it?
Yeah. I feel like that's just to connect those two characters.
Yeah.
But there's no reason for that. I mean, he just drops it.
It just falls off his neck. Yeah. I don't know.
Like, if that chain means so much to him, why'd he drop it? Another one I have, I mean, they street race cop cars. Like, come on. That wouldn't put anybody onto them. Like, oh yeah, we had all these cop cars going missing, and then they blew through 3 red lights. I wonder where they went after that. Couldn't follow, the cop cars. But yeah, do you have any more? I have another one.
Yeah, I got a couple.
Go for it.
So the way they get the handprint, because they obviously need the handprint to get into the safe at the end of the movie. They get it by Gal Gadot's ass getting grabbed, and it's on her swimsuit bottom is his handprint. I don't really know about the legitimacy of that. If you can pull a handprint off a piece of fabric like that, he was kind of rubbing it a little bit. I feel like it would not be a clear print, and obviously it's a little bit of movie magic just in general that they could then take that and turn it into a piece of film that they can put on. All of that was just a little BS to me. What else you got?
Yeah, for that, I think I just wanted to show off Gal Gadot's ass, but
yeah, fair enough.
My last one is basically this universe has no physics.
Nah.
Let's run through a couple scenarios. So right off the top, the bus flip. I don't know how that happens. They get him to spin out.
Flips. I mean,
no,
I've flipped a car before. It's believable.
But the way they do it is they use one car as leverage to flip the other.
Right.
If that happened, they just smash. There's no.
Well, how does Dom survive? Is the question. How does? And then they get him out.
Yeah, it does flip like 15 times.
Yeah, and they're not. It's a bus. They're not wearing seatbelts.
Yeah. Anyways, right after that, where they're hijacking the cars from the train. Cool scene. But then when they jump off the car into the river, I mean, there's no physics there. You can't like stand up in a car and jump away from it as you're both falling down. Big debunking there.
And if you're that high up at a certain height, hitting water is essentially like hitting concrete. So they would have been dead.
They're probably dead. My last one and the obvious one is they dragged 2-ton safe around the streets of Brazil with 2 cars. That's all it takes, man.
Hey, man, the horsepower. The one thing that I do like is I guess you could say the reason that Dom is then able to pull it by himself is because it's an empty safe later in the movie.
Well, money doesn't, it's not that.
No, that money weighs a lot. They're talking it's like 49 kilos. I mean,
and he's got NOS. If they're using NOS the entire time,
or I guess it's 490 kilos, but.
No, I still don't buy it, but it doesn't really matter.
I agree. Yeah, the 2 cars, but then the physics do not make a lot of sense.
It's fun either way, but yeah, there's no physics in this universe straight up.
Yeah, I mean, there's also the scene when they're doing the train heist and Brian jumps off the train onto the thing and grabs like the chain or whatever, the rope, and then like it cuts away and then it cuts back and suddenly he's climbed up into the driver's seat, or into the passenger seat. I don't know how he gets.
He chokes the guy with a rope.
Yeah, he's got a lot of upper body strength, so I guess shout out to him for that.
And that guy just randomly had a what's that thing called?
The blowtorch.
Where do you get a blowtorch when he's driving a car?
Yeah, he's somehow driving this like big, weird like pickup truck tanker thing, and then suddenly has a blowtorch. Like we said, this movie has a lot. We could probably go on and on about
That's
all the
what
stupid
makes
things.
it fun though. Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely, that's what makes this movie enjoyable, and it's why it's okay to like rewatch this movie. We'll move on to our favorite characters.
She is very gorgeous to me.
You want to start it?
Yeah, I got a couple. I would list a bunch of honorable mentions. I like basically everybody in the crew. But specifically in this movie, not talking about the performance. I can't talk today. Just the character of Brian O'Connell. I actually really like his arc in this movie. Sort of coming in as, you know, leaving the whole cops thing behind. He's like bought into the criminal life, but then like everything changes when he finds out Mia's pregnant, and it's sort of like the idea of one last job and let's get the hell out of here and live our lives.
See how that worked out.
I actually really like that arc. That's probably the only character arc in this movie. I really like it. But yeah, the obvious one is Hobbs. I mean, just an absolute badass. Like I said, the quotes, he's great.
What do you think of his facial hair?
Love it. I love the baby oil. Super sweaty the entire movie. But yeah, I mean, if you get a spin-off movie, you know you're a good character. So yeah, those are my two picks for best characters.
I personally am glad they got rid of the weird beard in the later franchises. I'm gonna go with Ludacris's character as my favorite. Tej, yeah. He's got the great later in the movie the callback of did he smack that ass or did he grab onto it? Yeah. I think Roman Pierce says it first, but then when they're talking to Mia about her being pregnant, I think that's a great callback. It's a funny line. I think Ludacris and Tyrese in this movie are probably the two funniest characters, and they have really great chemistry. So he's just my favorite character. Also, he's probably the most important. He's got all the science stuff or the technology stuff, and he gets the handprint to work out in the end. So
that's true.
And he opens the garage. Also, the final scene
cool. Yeah.
where the guy, when they're talking, him and Tyrese are talking about, oh, there's only one of these cars in the Western Hemisphere, and then the car pulls up, and he's like, I guess there's two of them now. Yeah.
That would have been funny if they didn't have Tej and they got the safe at the end and they just couldn't open it.
Yeah. Safes are crazy, man. I don't understand. Could they just cut into it? I don't know.
Probably not. I have no idea.
All right. We'll go least favorite character. I'll get us started. My least favorite character is Vince. He's kind of supposed to be your least favorite character.
R.I.P.
But I think they also try and give him a bit of a redemption arc in this movie, and I don't like that. Obviously, this is the first time that his character comes back into the franchise since the first movie. He's kind of the bad guy in the first movie. He gets outed, and then they bring him back for this one, and he again like kind of betrays them, but then they like want him to have a redemption because of family. It's all about family.
You staying for supper? You're saying grace.
Exactly. And I don't really like that they like try and give him that redemption, and it just seems stupid. And then obviously he dies, and his kid, who's named after Dom, Nico, gets the money, and I just think that's all stupid. And I would have been fine if they just didn't include it.
Yeah, no, I agree. His character is kind of useless, and then I think they just killed him off to try to get like some emotion going.
Yeah, to make you feel bad. Because if he stays alive, then you definitely don't feel bad. The thing is there's always room for one more. There's always room for family. But it's like, where's his cut coming from? They take it out of Dom's, I guess? Like, because if they were all supposed to make like $11 million, but you add another person, that number drops by like $3 million.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I have a couple. I don't really hate any characters in this movie, so I just picked some bland ones. The dumb Brazilian henchman who's throughout the movie, the guy who at the end who gets shot.
I don't know how that dude survived so long.
Yeah, he went through a lot. He's doing the heist with them on the train at the beginning, and then every time there's just dead bodies everywhere, he just walks up and looks around like, oh,
he doesn't do much.
I'm gonna get him next time. So he's kind of annoying. Also, Hobbs' crew. I'm not big fans of them. There's a scene where the guys are like, dude, we went through the entire car. There's nothing here. And then Hobbs looks in the car for 30 seconds and finds what's missing. Then
it's classic. I hate it when they do this.
Yeah. Then they kind of just all go out like chumps at the end.
Yeah.
Which is fair. That dude, the scene where the grenades fall right in front of his face. That's kind of cool. R.I.P. that guy. But yeah, I'd say his crew. I'm gonna spoiler alert for the remainder of the show. I'm gonna pick somebody to come into the crew for my replacement. So yeah, those are my two least favorite.
All right, who can act, Kody?
Wow.
I have a lot of honorable mentions for this one. I don't know Han, what his name is in real life. I saw it in the credits. I don't remember it. It's pretty...
Something saying. Sung Kang.
Sung Kang?
Sung Kang.
Sung Kang. I like him a lot in this movie. Also, bouncing off what you said, Ludacris. He's pretty good. And Jordana Brewster, I think this is her best performance in any of these movies, I think. Like you said, she's given a lot to do. She has like actual emotions in this movie and actual motives. So I like that. But my pick is Gal Gadot. I think she's super underrated. Obviously, she doesn't have a ton of screen time in this movie. But I remember when she was cast as Wonder Woman, and everyone was like, "Oh, the Fast and Furious chick, she was terrible in all those movies." And I was kind of like, I thought she was good. Like, she's a badass, and that's what she's there to do. And I mean, obviously, going into Wonder Woman, she had a lot more to do with that character. She's actually really good as Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my pick. I think Gal Gadot.
Gal Gadot actually served in the army, so
Yeah, Israeli
Special Forces,
Yeah.
and hey, she fits the character well.
Translates well to that character. Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's probably perfect for the role, and I think she is. Yeah, she's really great. She's fun. She's a strong woman. She's awesome. I'm gonna say I think Paul Walker can act in this movie. Actually,
Yeesh. Interesting.
I think Paul Walker's probably like one of the more serious actors like in this franchise. A lot of people are comedians, or a lot of people are just like action stars, but I think he's one of the more serious actors. He finds a good place he takes this role seriously a little bit more than other people's. But I just think he's kind of a sly, like cool, calm, collected badass. Also, I think the love story with Mia. I mean, you talked about the arc, and maybe he just had better writing than everybody else, but he gets a chance to like actually have like, like you said, he's here to be a criminal, but now he's got a baby and he's got to have one last job and be with his wife, or I don't think they're married, but whatever.
I don't remember. Probably not.
I think that's good, and I think his like constant back and forth with Vin Diesel is also really good in these movies. I think they're like so different characters and like two different people, but they play really well together. Kind of like that brotherly, but also like competition aspect.
That's like the one person Vin Diesel actually has chemistry with.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
I agree with that. Yeah.
And then, which is funny because his character is supposed to have chemistry with everyone. He's like
the sister, and
Mr. Family.
Yeah.
Everybody's his family, but really him and Brian are the only two that work well together. And then just Ludacris and Tyrese. They're just having a ton of fun in this movie. Just their chemistry is off the wall. The jokes, they have the best comedy, the best lines. They're just here to have a good laugh and get out.
Tyrese gets hated on a lot too. I think.
Yeah, everybody's hating. I mean, and in Too Fast and Furious, I don't know if he's that great, but I think in this movie he fits the vibes well.
Yeah, he's really good.
Good comedic relief compared to the rest of the crew.
Yeah.
I think in an ensemble cast, he's better.
Oh yeah. He's not a leading man.
So we'll move on to who can't act.
It's my opinion!
I'll start with this one. I have an honorable mention, just the feud between Paul Walker and Vince. Every time they scream at each other, I'm just like...
when Vince shows up and he's like...
he's like... Then Jordan Bruce is like, he saved me. And then 2 seconds later, he's like, thanks, man. Appreciate
gives him that, daps him up.
That I don't buy that at all. But I have 2 picks for this. The obvious pick, I'm sorry to say it, it's Vin Diesel. He's got the whole mumble growl going. Legitimately, half the time when he speaks in this movie, I don't understand what he's saying. I put on subtitles this time because I was just like, I should probably understand what he's saying to like try to understand the character or whatever. I don't know what's wrong with that dude, honestly. His facial expression is always the same. The phrase resting bitch face, I think, fits him a lot. But yeah, I think that's the obvious pick. So I'll talk a little bit more about my other pick, which is the Brazilian chick. I don't know her name either. I should have looked it up. She's the worst actress in this movie. Her lines are not the best given to her, so I don't want to hate on her too much. Sort of at the beginning, even when The Rock is like going off, she's like, I'm motivated. I mean, I guess. And then her relationship with Vin Diesel, also sus. I'd say by far she's the worst actress in this movie. No offense to her. I know she comes back and has nothing to do in the franchise after this movie. So hey, she got out when she could. But those are my picks.
Yeah, that whole her character. I think it's like in the first part of the movie, it's really cool because like The Rock brings her in and he's like, "Oh yeah, you're the only cop that can't be bought." but then in the end, like, she falls in love with Vin Diesel, and like that's the reason she helps him. It's very strange. Yeah. And then she's just there on the island.
Yeah, she just shows up at the end.
Yeah, right. Not great. No, for sure. I'm just gonna say it. I mean, everyone in this movie can't really act. Like even Paul Walker, even Ludacris and Tyrese, like all of them, like not that great of actors. Nobody's putting on any Oscar-winning performances. But the two main people I'm gonna target here are The Rock and, of course, Vin Diesel.
Oh, you're calling out The Rock? That's tough.
I describe this as acting in all caps the entire movie. Like, they're always yelling. They're always like, 100%. But if I had to narrow it down to one, I'm going to... Well, okay, going back. First of all, they're both great physically. They're great physical actors.
Oh, yeah.
The thing about, like, The Rock especially is, like, they're athletes. Like, he was a football player. He was a wrestler. So when he does action stunts and when he does these movements... Yeah, he's a big dude, but also, like, he's just athletic and, like, he can move and he can run around. And, like, when you see him jumping through walls, even though that doesn't seem believable, it, like, looks believable because, like, this guy can use his body well. And so in that fight sequence is, like, really awesome. But my final choice for the worst actor in this movie is going to be The Rock over Vin Diesel for one reason and one reason only. Because Vin Diesel nails the line, "This is Brazil!" That singular line and the way the hands, it makes up for everything.
Great
else.
Symbolism, because
exactly.
This is Brazil.
It makes up for everything else in this movie. So for that reason only, I'm gonna say the worst actor in this movie is The Rock.
That is a goated line.
All right, we're gonna take a break and we'll be right back. All right, and we're back and we're gonna move on to Kody versus.
Uh-oh.
So, Kody, you've had a lot of ups and downs in your career of making it in movies. What do you think? Is this a win or a loss?
I think this is a close one. I don't think this is a pure knockout. I have a couple questions to ask myself and the audience at large. First one, could I take The Rock in a fight? I would say, probably not. I'll probably say, I
might be a close one.
Felt that part of the movie. But, when all it was his crew gets killed off, I'd come out, guns blazing, help him out. And then we're back into the movie.
Your bros, yeah.
The second part is, could I outsmart these corrupt gangsters / cops? Which is another interesting question. The whole plan, it's not that complex. They're basically just killing everyone with a massive safe at the end. And the whole switcheroo thing, it's not that complicated. The big thing is the question that I have for you: am I given Dominic Toretto's driving abilities?
Yes, you have his skills, but you're in your body, so.
Then I say, yeah, I win the movie. Because the plan is not that complicated. Like, I get, this dude's been a criminal for a long time. I'm going to have a lot of underlying criminal friends, bring in the Ocean's 11 crew. And then if I have his driving ability, yeah, sure. Hit the NOS, kill all those cops. I think we're golden. What do you think?
I don't think you have much of appreciation for family as Dominic Toretto does. So I think that's a big fault. That's a loss for you right there.
True.
I don't know if you can handle the pressure, to be honest. I think you crack.
You're telling me Dominic Toretto can handle pressure than me?
You are right that you would lose the fight with The Rock, which would not be good. But obviously, even though he wins the fight against The Rock, it doesn't matter. He still gets captured. Right. So that part is irrelevant. Other than maybe gaining a little bit of respect from The Rock, I guess.
True.
To be honest, I don't think Vin Diesel could win in a fight against The Rock, but
that's true.
So maybe with a little writing, you could outwit him. I agree. The big thing is the driving skill. That's what this comes down to. And since you have that, I would say you get the win.
Oh, baby. Let's go. That might put me over 500. That's a big dub.
I don't know what the official record is. We'll have to go back.
This is Brazil.
What are we going to add to Fortnite?
It's the guy from Fortnite!
First of all, I'll get started here. Fortnite has cars, but they all kind of suck. There's also just a limited number of cars. It's the same 3 or 4. It's just adding more variation in the cars. The police cars in this movie are even cool, but just like any car that's you see in any of these franchises awesome. They have NOS a little bit, I guess, technically in Fortnite, but it kind of sucks. Burns your gas out. I would say the cars in general.
Yeah.
What do you got?
No, I agree. I said put more NOS in the cars. That's not what you said.
Also, or maybe like you could pick it up and like add it to a car or something.
Yeah.
Or...
That'd be cool. I also said put the soundtrack on the radio. There's actually, I think
Fast and Furious movies have like the goated soundtracks.
Low-key,
like,
really good soundtrack.
All of them.
Yeah. I mean, that song's great. So just stick that on the radio. Also, some more of a weapons thing here. The Rock carries that massive freaking pistol. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That thing would be sick. At the end where that guy's like, help me on the ground. He goes, just fucking sticks him. Then also a fun one. I say you throw a wrench in as a weapon. Because in the past movie, Dom, like they said, he beat some dude half to death with a wrench. And then in this one, he like sticks it right next to the Rock's head. So like, that'd be cool. You could either throw it or keep it in your hand and, knock somebody down. I think there's a lot of good weapon choices. I was going to say the rocket launcher, but they already have rocket launchers. Because that rocket launcher, like just the visual in the movie of like the freaking downward spiral right past the Rock's face, like under that car. It's like, that was sick. But they already have rocket launchers.
True.
Yeah, you got anything else for Fortnite?
Obviously the favelas are like just a cool location.
Yeah.
So throwing that in is
that'd
like,
be a sick location.
Yeah. Which they've got, like some of the newer buildings kind of look like that. They're like the square boxy buildings.
Yeah.
But just adding a little bit more color and like kind of being able to jump on top of them. Like all the buildings being attached to each other is just really cool and up on a hill. I think that would be awesome to fight.
Awesome, yeah.
And then how is there not a Rock skin?
That's true.
You could have it where like he has the different outfits too, all of his most iconic roles. So The Rock is a wrestler. This movie, give him
the wife beater.
Yeah. The
no,
pistol,
the black shirt.
The black shirt and the chain.
Him and
Jumanji.
Jumanji.
Moana and I don't know, the Gorilla movie or something. Pick some other movie.
I forgot that movie.
One of his other iconic roles.
Yeah.
Who knows?
He's
kind of the same in all of his roles, but
that's all right. We don't.
Either way,
we don't talk about it.
Give him the Jumanji outfit, the beard in this movie, Moana. Yeah. I think a Rock skin. I mean, I'd buy that for sure.
I probably wouldn't, but
well,
I'm surprised it hasn't been in the game.
I think I mean, it'd be some big money for the Rock. All right, so now we're gonna replace an actor and or the director.
You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired.
I have two here.
I have two as well. You go first.
Okay, I'll get started. I think this is probably like an obvious cop-out choice a little bit, but obviously we talked about Ocean's 11. Why not see Steven Soderbergh direct this movie? I don't know about the action scenes. They're probably not as good. But in terms of a heist movie, Logan's Lucky, Ocean's 11, 12, 13. Soderbergh's proven time and time again that he can do it well, and this movie obviously takes a little bit of inspiration, I'd have to say, from that.
That's a lot, yeah.
With the crew gathering, even like the fake out in the end is very similar to like
Ocean's 11.
The way they do the fake out there,
and the components of the crew is very, very
right.
similar.
Like Don Cheadle is basically the two like Mexican dudes, and like
no, two Mexican dudes are Casey Affleck and that other guy. The brothers.
I guess they are brothers, but Don Cheadle's their explosive
Han
guy.
is Brad Pitt. Well, yeah, I don't think Don Cheadle's really in it. And then you got the tech guy, the nervous guy with glasses.
Yeah, they general archetypes.
It's close.
I see what you're saying.
It's close. Yeah.
Definitely big inspiration from that. Which, that's something that we say about the original Fast and Furious is basically just Point Break, but with cars. This is basically Ocean's 11, but with cars.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, Steven Soderbergh.
I like that pick. That'd be interesting. My first one, both mine are not very serious. I said take out those Spanish brothers we were just talking about and throw in Cheech and Chong.
Okay.
I want more life experience in this team, all right? Everybody's super young, super attractive. Like, we get it, okay? You're in a movie. Throw in Cheech and Chong. These guys are going to be cracking jokes. I mean, those Spanish guys were funny. Like, the exploding toilet scene was good. And then them at the end, like, reacting to the line is pretty funny. But yeah, if you throw in Cheech and Chong, those dudes are going to be throwing jokes left and right. They're going to be bouncing off Tyrese and Ludacris, talking crap about Dom. I think that'd be really funny. What do you think about Cheech and Chong?
I like that. I like the age difference. It's cool.
Yeah.
I don't know about them as, action stars, but throw a little pot into the mix and I'm sure it's a good time.
True.
I I also want to replace the brothers. So I originally just had one person written down, and then there's like another person I joked about, but we'll replace them both.
Okay.
And we're gonna do like a father-son thing here.
Oh, I like it. Switch it up.
So first of all, we're gonna have Michael Pena come in,
Okay.
and he's gonna play one of them. I don't know which one. It doesn't matter. He's funny, so he adds a little bit of comedy. I just want to say, like, the two brothers, they're probably like my least favorite characters. I think it's because they come in the fourth movie originally, but they're just like they have the least amount of history, the least connection to any of them within the franchise.
Right, the least screen time in this movie.
Yeah, and they're kind of just the least interesting, in my opinion. And then we'll just say Danny Trejo can come in as well. That's a little bit get a little age on the crew, and because they're not even actually brothers. They're just like friends.
Oh right.
Yeah, they're not even brothers.
That makes
but
sense.
we can make it a father-son thing. They've got a good bickering back and forth in this movie. So Danny Trejo and Michael Pena can
We're on
do
the
that.
same page, dude.
Yeah.
Adding age to the crew.
Yeah, there you go. So that's my replacement. I really like Michael Pena. End of Watch is a great movie if you haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it. But yeah, my second pick, like I said before, I want to throw somebody in Rock's crew. I'm replacing somebody in the crew. I don't know what. Not the Chinese guy with a mohawk. He's cool. Not the black guy either. He's cool as well. Who doesn't know
The white guy probably.
Yeah, let's replace the white guy. I'm throwing in Conor McGregor into the fold here.
Okay.
All these guys sort of have a shtick to them, and I just want McGregor off to the side, just have 3 lines in this movie in his dumb Irish accent, be like, "I apologize to fucking nobody. Got fucking potatoes." I don't know. I just wanted to say some dumb Irish stuff, and yeah, like I said, I think the Rock's crew is super bland, and just throwing in a Conor McGregor cameo would be really fun, and I think it'd fit the movie. So yeah, those are my picks for replacements.
I think the accent would definitely be an interesting addition. So I like that pick. And they've done a lot of work with MMA and
Exactly.
WWE people. So I mean, when is Conor McGregor gonna be in a Fast and Furious movie? Is the real question.
That's true. If he's not in the next one, it's just kind of
We're waiting for it. All right, I think we both had some pretty good picks here for the first time.
This is probably our best casting
Yeah.
episode here.
So now we're gonna move on to the IMDb trivia.
Right.
Naked grandma!
Naked, huh?
Don't have a lot of stuff today, but I think we've got some pretty good, interesting stuff as well. So first thing, the stunt at the beginning of the movie with the flatbed truck slamming into the train. Well, when they go over the river, it hits the bridge. That was all done practically. They didn't do any CGI. When you can see in the movie, the train kind of shakes, and it actually literally almost derailed the train that they actually were shooting with. So that's pretty cool. This one is very interesting, and I want to hear your thoughts on this. So the role of Hobbs was originally envisioned for Tommy Lee Jones.
He was gonna fight Vin Diesel.
According to Vin Diesel, there was a fan, some girl named Jan Kelly. There's a fan suggestion. It was like, hey, you should bring Dwayne Johnson into the franchise, because she really wanted to see Vin Diesel and Dwayne Johnson work together. Mm-hmm. So then they brought him in to play this role that was really supposed to be for Tommy Lee Jones, which is, I can't see it. I can't imagine. I'm gonna be honest. I think that kills this franchise.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because
the Fugitive vibes. I think that's probably what they're going for.
I don't know.
I mean, obviously the script.
He's just old.
The script has to be different because he can't be fighting everybody.
Right. Yeah.
He'd probably just be more of a subtle badass, letting everybody else do his work. But yeah, I probably wouldn't like this movie at all if he was that guy.
Yeah, it's very strange, and they definitely made the right choice. It definitely if you have Tommy Lee Jones in the movie, I don't know if we're on the 9th movie coming out.
No chance.
I don't think
no chance.
The Rock had really revitalized this franchise, and Tommy Lee Jones. This is a year before Men in Black 3 came out, which even in that movie, he's he's just an old dude who's retired. I don't see him doing a lot.
Yeah, he gets replaced in that movie.
Right, exactly. It's very strange. Another one. So when they steal the 4 Dodge Charger police cars, one of the police lights obviously turned on. Tyrese's character turns them on. But apparently, the Dodge had just released that model of the Charger, and a lot of those cars were still prototypes. And when they did the chase scene and they were filming it, the lights turning on was actually a malfunction that wasn't in the script.
Really?
But then they were like, oh, well, that kind of makes sense that something Roman would do. Yeah. So we'll leave it in. That's a pretty cool moment, and I think it does definitely fit his character.
That's funny, yeah. Weird.
And then the last thing I got here, when they're doing, which this is also a kind of stupid part, but The Rock has the picture of them in the car, but they have their faces covered. And then he's like, run it through FRS, which stands for facial recognition software. And he's like, oh, we got him. Yeah. Somehow it recognizes them through. But it pops up and it says like their names, and it refers to Han as Han Solo.
Really? But
like Seoul, as in the capital of South Korea, is his name, like Han Solo. Just a interesting moment where his alias is Han Solo, which I thought was funny.
That's funny.
You got any trivia, Cody?
I do have one. Right at the beginning of the movie, talked about the scene a lot where they flip the bus. A bunch of reporters then report.
Oh, Perd Hapley!
And we get a Perd Hapley cameo right at the beginning of the movie.
I wrote this down.
Is there a better start to a movie where they bust out Dom from jail and Perd Hapley comes on to report it? I think that's really funny, not only because it's Perd Hapley that's funny, but he's also a news reporter in this movie.
Right.
So is Parks and Rec and the Fast and Furious in the same universe? That is the question. It may be. Perd Hapley is a news reporter in both universes. But yeah, I just thought that was really funny.
I don't know when he first makes his appearance in, is it season 3? I mean, I don't know if this was before or not, because season 2. So it was probably, he was Perd Hapley before this movie came out, but not for very long.
No, it was close. But yeah, Perd Hapley.
Yeah, the first thing I wrote down was just Perd Hapley. Awesome. Yeah, okay, so now we're going to move on to our ratings.
You're going to look at me and you're going to tell me that I'm wrong? Am I wrong?
It's my favorite.
You can go first.
Out of 69, of course. I'm going to give this movie a 46 out of 69, which places it above Spider-Man, which I gave a 42, but below The Last Jedi, which I gave a 48.
Oh, man. It's kind of a tough rating. Put it close to Spider-Man. Below The Last Jedi?
Yeah.
Tough. All right. I got a lot of movies up at the top right now. I'm going low 60s here.
I think
which is reasonable.
Departed's a 65, Moonlight's a 67, Gone Girl's a 60, Princess Bride's a 63.
Yeah. So I like The Princess Bride more than this movie, but I think I like this movie more than Gone Girl. Okay. So I'm going with 61 out of 69.
61.
Which, I think in terms of the acting, maybe is a little bit high, but just sort of the rewatchability and, like I said a billion times, it's just fun. I love watching this movie. You can watch it anytime, any day, any mood you're in. 61 out of 69 I think is a good rating for it.
For sure. I mean, like, this is definitely like probably the most fun movie that we've done. Maybe The Departed's pretty fun, but even then at times it's a little monotonous and a little too self-serious. This is just like the most like bullshit, like let's just watch a movie where shit explodes and people driving fast cars.
And it's the best of that movie of all time.
Exactly. It's the best of that genre that exists. So I like it a lot. It's still not like, I'm not going to give it a huge, 50 or 60, but
it's no
Oscar. I enjoy this movie a lot.
Yeah.
All right. Finally, Cody, you've been watching anything recently? Got any recommendations, anything?
I'm trying to remember. Recently I've been watching It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, that's a funny show. It's super like offensive and stuff like that.
Always Sunny has the best cold opens of any sitcom, in my opinion.
I think the early seasons are good. So I've been watching that recently. Haven't been watching a ton, if I'm being honest. But yeah, how about you? I'm going to watch Superbad soon. It's on Netflix. I want to watch it again.
I think it's been on Netflix for a while.
Well, I don't go on Netflix a ton.
I've watched, technically, I'm on my 4th movie today.
You watched 4 movies today?
Well, I watched one at like 1 a.m. last night, so if we're counting, and I'm watching Holes right now in preparation for the next podcast.
Oh, yeah.
So check out Holes. Gonna be filming that soon because we're trying to film a bunch this week. I watched a movie on Netflix called The Mitchells vs. the Machines. Have you seen anything about that?
Never heard of
So it's from the same people that made Into the Spider-Verse. It's like same animation style, same creators, writers. It is very good. It is a really awesome movie, so I would definitely recommend checking that out. Also, I think I mentioned it a few weeks ago where I like watched the first like 10 minutes of The Social Network at like 4 a.m. I finished watching it over the course of, it's been like 2 weeks, but I finished watching that today. Great movie. Love The Social Network. Favorite movie of the last decade. Classic. Sorkin and
the
Fincher.
Finchman, yeah.
Exactly. So awesome movie. And then I'll also just recommend End of Watch. I brought it up earlier. Michael Pena, Jake Gyllenhaal. It's a great movie. We'll probably talk about it at some point. But
I'll recommend That 70s Show for Cheech. Oh, no, for Chong. One of them.
Fair enough.
Great show.
They're also in some commercial.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what it's for.
I don't know what it's for either. Classic guys, though. Pretty sure it's Cheech. No, it's Tommy Chong. Chong's definitely in whatever it's called.
Yeah.
That 70 show. It's
Fair
definitely
enough.
It's definitely Chong.
Yep. There you go. Big fan, huh?
Yeah, not really.
All their work.
That 70 show I'm a fan of.
I like That 70 Show. I'd recommend it. Also, It's Always Sunny. All right. Well, thanks for capping with us today, and we'll catch you next week
Stay capping, folks.
with a Holes pod.
For episode 10.
Episode
Double
10.
digits.
There you go. See you.
Peace.